As we get closer to the election, we'll be sure to give you the facts on Joe Biden's decades of corruption in the swamp. Tonight, we have new revelations from the co-author of the brand new book Fallout, Seamus Bruner, and president of the Government Accountability Institute, our friend Peter Schweizer. Great to see you both. Seamus, let's start with this great book. What's in it that you really would highlight for our viewers as they think about the election and Joe Biden's bid for the White House?
Thanks, Steve. What I would say is we set out to find the answer to one question, which was why Ukraine and why Russia? Why did the Democrats in Congress and the media seem to just hammer this point endlessly of Russia collusion? And what we found was shocking. We found at least a dozen examples of Obama giveaways to Putin and failures in Ukraine. And we found at least 10 Obama-Biden operatives working directly for the Russians or getting paid by the Russians. One of those operatives, it was Joe Biden's energy advisor. He advised Joe Biden on Ukraine matters, oil and gas specifically, was a man named Amos Hochstein. Well, just several years prior, he was working for the Russians, helping them corner our uranium assets in the United States.
It's just like, oh, it's unbelievable. And it is literally what we were just talking about with Tammy and Rob, that they accuse you of the exact same thing they do. And it applies here too. Peter, you know, you've dug into so many of these kinds of corruption stories over the years. Put this in context for us.
Well, I think it's very powerful, and it speaks to the problem that we have of high-level international corruption. In this case, talking about the Clintons and the Bidens, and how they use their relationship with corrupt foreign regimes and oligarchs to enrich themselves. And I think what's really stunning is just the gravity of all the examples they found. You know, for example, John Podesta, Hillary Clinton's campaign chairman, was literally on the board of directors of an energy company called Juul, very small board. 3 months after he joined that company's board of directors, a Russian investment fund put about $50 million into that company. Well, the interesting part, Steve, is that investment company in Russia is called Rusnano. It's run by the Russian government, and its nickname is Putin's Child, because Vladimir Putin takes a particular interest in it. Now, imagine if you had, you know, Donald Trump's campaign manager literally being involved in a company that had direct investment dollars from the Russian government. There would be widespread coverage, and yet people are going to have to read Seamus's book to hear about that, because the media has ignored that story. And there's multiple examples like that.
Just give us it's just amazing, Seamus, another couple of tidbits so that people can see really what they would be getting from this great book.
Sure. So you've covered on Swamp Watch before some of the characters. One of them, Ted Kassinger, who had a position at the State Department. At the same time, he was on the Russian payroll, helping them advising them on the Uranium One transaction. At the same time, he's working at State Department. So you've covered that before. Amos Hochstein is another example. We've got another character in there who was previously working for the Russian nuclear corporation 10X, all within the Obama administration. You know, of course, the Podesta group lobbying on behalf of foreign clients. They lobbied for Spurbank, Uranium One, as it turns out, and several other Russian entities. And so we really wanted to know, why is this Russia collusion thing coming up years after the fact? Well, we drudged through the WikiLeaks, and we actually found a poll in the summer of 2015. Now, this is before Donald Trump is actually the nominee, and it showed that Hillary Clinton's largest liability among polled, you know, people who took this internal poll — it was a secret poll, not released in the media — her largest liability was the Uranium One deal and the perception that she had, you know, this Russia baggage. And there were numerous polls that showed that. And so it kind of turned into, like you were talking about earlier in the show, this big projection, the projection deception, as I call it.
Peter, just very quickly, as we look to the election, what do you think is the biggest takeaway in terms of a potential use of this for the Trump campaign against Joe Biden in the weeks ahead?
Well, I think obviously the Democrats want to make this a referendum on Donald Trump. I think the Trump campaign should make this a referendum on Joe Biden. And I've got to tell you, I've looked at Republicans and Democrats over the years. I have never found a person in public service as corrupt as Joe Biden. 5 members of his family. It involves foreign entities like China and Russia. This is not, getting a payoff from some construction company in Newark. We're talking about corrupt foreign oligarchs and governments. That should be a main focus, I believe, of the Trump campaign. Is that really what Americans want, leaders that are in hock to foreign governments?
Bingo, you got it. That is exactly right. We've done a bit of that on the show in the past, using a lot of the research that you and your team have done, and you've reminded me how important it is that we get that going again, because people need to know this stuff. Thank you both very much. Congrats on the book, Seamus. I hope it does well. Peter, see you soon. Thanks for joining us.